When asked about her writing process, Toni Morrison said, "I always get up and make a cup of coffee while it is still dark. It must be dark. And then I drink the coffee and watch the light come." She says that writers all devise ways to approach that place where they expect to make the contact, where they become the conduit, or where they engage in this mysterious process. For me, she said, light is the signal in the transition. It's not being in the light. It's being there before it arrives. It enables me in some sense. Being there for that transition really can enable us. It can signal us that now is the time to begin, to start thinking differently, to enter new castles in our minds, go through new portals, climb towers of creativity that we haven't yet explored. Some days we wake up and we feel like the fog into which everything lovely and living flies and disappears. We go through these foggy times of loneliness or depression, anxiety, sleeplessness. But sometimes it is on these foggy, dark mornings where we think there's too much haze to see the light come in. That sunrise is the most surprising and beautiful, when it feels most like a gift. What I'd like to share with you in this video is 4 sunrises over the ocean. This first one was for me the most memorable and surprising, simply because it was so foggy and overcast that I didn't think that I would see anything. But instead, because of the fog and the haze and the clouds, I saw 3 sunrises. The sun kept passing behind the clouds on its journey up, and then re-emerging. I loved this as a reminder that we should never give up hope. experience when I experience times of depression or lower creativity, which for me can cause depression. The pendulum always swings the other way eventually. And I've come to trust more and more that the pendulum will swing, that the sun will rise, that if I wake up in the darkness and make that cup of coffee and drink it and wait, the light will come. It always has. I hope it always will for you as well. Sometimes we need 3 sunrises in one morning to get us started, to get us rolling, to engage us. And sometimes we are surprisingly given 3 sunrises, even when we feel we don't deserve them. What do you like to create? Throughout my life, I've created different things. I've written, painted, drawn, built. And one of the things that enables me most is time alone in nature. I find it vital to the creative process. I know some people's creative process is stimulated by being with other people. And if you're in a slump, and it's being with other people that helps you, I hope you will seek out company. Sometimes we need to take our coffee with others. Sometimes alone. But I find that either way, it's so important to listen to people and to the things and places around us to explore. Here's a Little Mermaid's purse. These are what protect the eggs of sharks and rays. That one was empty. So, please do take that time to perform the rituals that are important to keeping your creativity alert and alive. Whether it be taking a walk somewhere familiar or somewhere you've never been before, or being with other people, or going on a long car ride, or getting extra sleep. Do those things that help you climb the watchtowers of imagination so you can look out and see how much there is in and oceans and far-off horizons. Here's a little garden that someone created in the sand. It seemed like such a magical thing to come across early in the morning. And very beautiful. It's fun to walk along the shore and see the things that people create. Like this little garden, or sand castles, or big holes in the sand where children have played. Sometimes there are mosaics made of shells, or things that people have written. So, let's leave the foggy day now for another morning. Every sunrise at the beach is special and unique. I suppose every sunrise everywhere is. Sunrise over the sea is so wonderful to watch because you have that clear horizon line. And you can really see that big ball of sun coming up. I loved this sunrise because of the clouds. It's a lot of fun to watch the sun come up in a circle from the sea. But I find that it's even more fun to watch when there are some clouds in the way because of the way that the light plays on them. It's extra beautiful. What do you prefer? A clear morning or a cloudy one? And of course, there's nothing like starting off your day listening to the waves, or ending your day that way, as perhaps you are right now, watching this video or listening to it. When I make videos like this, I'm always looking for that balance between talking and just letting you listen to the sounds of nature. Because her whispers are the most wonderful. I am not usually an early riser, but once a year, typically, I go to the seashore. And my favorite thing to do there, what I find most relaxing and refreshing, is to go to bed early and get up while it's still dark to watch the sunrise and experience that transition. You can see it down there, hot pink, at that line between ocean and sky. Just peeking out of the water. think that for many people, the seashore has a special draw, and there are many reasons for this. But part of it is that it's this place where it feels like you're seeing the whole world stitched together. Land, water, sky. There you are, standing on the sand. The ocean spreads out before you, and you think about how deep, 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 deep it goes, and how high, high, high the sky goes up into infinite space. It's a place of coming in and of departing. It's a place where we feel safe, but we're also reminded of the vastness and natural violence of the elements. And for some reason, I find this a soothing thought. It's a place where you really feel connected to the world. We're usually barefoot on the beach, our toes actually sinking into the sand. It's a place where we touch more than usual the things around us. And we maybe smell things that we don't usually smell. And we see things that we don't usually see. And so, because our senses are engaged in this way, we think thoughts that maybe we wouldn't usually think. Or we can let ourselves just stop thinking for a little while. Little crabs that kept popping in and out of the sand, little ghost crabs. They blend right in with the sand and they're very skittery. On this morning in particular, they were just everywhere. Funny little companions. And there he goes. The ocean also reminds us to breathe. I'd invite you, if you're awake, to take some deep breaths right now. Breathe in. And out. In and out. In and out. This was a clear morning. A morning where you could really see the sun like a ball of fire right there at the horizon. The colors are so amazing. Where's your favorite place in the world to wake up? If you could go anywhere and watch the sunrise, where would it be? When I watch sunrise at the seashore, I experience such a feeling of gratefulness, as if there's nothing else I could want. Here is a little horseshoe crab. He was stranded and needed a little bit of help getting back into the water. One of my very favorite things about walking on the shore early in the morning is that you usually come across some kind of sea creature, either in the water or on the land. Sometimes you can help them out a little bit. Sometimes it's too late. But it always feels like a sort of honor if you can make their way a little easier. Here were some pretty towers that someone had built. And now, welcome to our last morning. Light is just coming up. Got a bit of a later start, but we'll be there in time to watch the sun come up one more time. I loved this line of clouds, like a sculpture in the sky, or a floating landmass. There were ships out at sea, large ships. Don't you wonder where they're going? And there were dolphins. A few different little pods or schools of them. I always forget what the word is when there's a bunch of dolphins together. There were even some that were swimming quite close to the shore. I'm not sure if I captured any of those on film. But seeing them reminded me of how close we are to these creatures. There were people out fishing. Later, as I was walking, I came across a man who had a net on the end of a pole, was standing in the waves. As the waves came in, he would thrust his net down into the water and then pull it up and let the receding wave wash the sand out so he could see if he had picked up anything interesting. He had a bucket up on the beach, and I took a peek into and sand crabs and just bits of this and that. I said good morning to him, and he said good morning. He said, laughing, catching breakfast, which he clearly wasn't. But it was a nice little interaction. Everyone seems friendly and quiet and happy in the morning as they're enjoying the beach. And here comes the sun. Quite a few people were sitting nearby and watching it rise. And it's always so interesting. Everybody comes down and sits there and stares at the horizon until the sun comes up. And then, just a few minutes after it is fully emerged from the horizon line and started going up higher into the sky, all the people sort of disappear for a short time before the crowds come. But everybody starts walking either along the shore or back to wherever they're staying, because the show is kind of over in a way and the day is starting. Here's a beautiful jellyfish. It looked like it was glowing. There were a lot of things washed up on the beach this morning. A little white pepper covered in sea spray. Sandpipers and sea castles. Sand castles. This was a particularly impressive one, I thought. And either someone got up to build it very, very early, or it really lasted the night very well. Isn't that gorgeous? Here's another jellyfish. They look almost like solid water. These are just little moon jellies, I think. They don't sting too much. And of course there are all sorts of little shells and pebbles dotting the shore. And they're all so beautiful together. It's kind of as if each and every one is the most beautiful. Just like people. Each and every one of you is the most beautiful. And we're all so beautiful together. The birds found lots to eat that morning. The ocean is a place that reminds us of the tides of life, how quickly they pull in and out. It reminds us to enjoy the brightness while it's there. To look and discover and create, dream. Here's one of the little holes dug by the ghost crabs. I was fascinated by how much sand they push out in the pattern it made. A butterfly wing and a dead fish that the ghost crabs were eating. And this jellyfish, the red sun inside. This one really would sting if it touched you. But it's so interesting to look at. Very strange and beautiful, and a creature so unlike ourselves. We share the world with so many strange and wonderful beings. This was a little piece of something. I'm not sure what. It almost seemed like sand, with hardened sand, with barnacles throughout it. I thought it was very interesting. So I actually took this one home with me. Do you know what it is? I'd love to know if you know. And then there was this friend. Making his way home. Wow. I hope you're feeling nice and sleepy, and that you've enjoyed these 4 sunrises at the seashore. Just some quiet whispering, talking. I appreciate you being here with me. I hope to see you again soon. I hope that you'll sleep